Welcome back. Accompanied by Minister of Housing Dr. Asim Gazzar and Hussein Hiba, the CEO of the Investment Authority, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli toured two industrial cities, two industrial zones. Let's be accurate, the new Abur city and the 10th of Ramadan city. He visited a number of companies, a number of factories, industrial complexes, and he had a press conference after his tour in which he highlighted a lot about our economy, and he sent a lot of messages regarding our economy, our fields of investment, industry, agriculture, how to fight inflation, how to face all the global economic crises when it comes to inflation, to debts, to the crisis of supply chain, everything. To shed more light on the tour and on the most important points which were tackled in the press conference after the tour, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister and our economic expert. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ambassador.
Good morning, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Sir, before going into the details of the Prime Minister tour and the press conference he held after it, you know, what's really now something very much normal, to find the Prime Minister himself, to find all ministers, going all the time to have inspection tours, field visits, dealing themselves or having dialogue themselves with those on duty, whether the workers, engineers, CEOs, those responsible for the working shift. How do you see the keenness of the high-ranking official not to stay anymore in their offices? Now it's very normal to find every now and then, or maybe every day, one of our ministers going himself to inspect in an inspection tour on the ground what's going on.
It is very important message to us, to the investor, that the top gentlemen on top of the high executive positions are there. Whenever we need them, they are there. It is also very important for the high-rank gentlemen to see by themselves what is on the ground. Mm-hmm. So it is a sort of wide experience. Mm-hmm. It goes here and there. That the top executive person wants to see by himself what are the opportunities, what are the challenges also, because he can immediately resolve some problems against the investment needs.
And fix it on the ground.
Yes. And at the end, he met some investors also in order to see what is going on. And they have some small remarks about this and that. Mm-hmm. The good thing that once we were discussing a thesis in the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, and while the discussion, Dr. Ali Din Hilal, the dean of the faculty, he told me, sometimes you are talking something which is not at all in the books. This is very important. We are not talking according to the books. All of us, we know what are in the books. But what we don't know exactly, what is going on in the practical life. Mm-hmm. This is what our Prime Minister is doing. And as you rightly said, the ministers and the high-ranking people are doing it. It's a very important process for the sake of our development program.
Yes. Also, when we knew the details of the tour, we knew that the Prime Minister visited factories which produce the components, the production components, the automotive harnesses, the very small particles used in manufacturing electric sets. I mean, now we are speaking about heavy industries, medium, light. I mean, we are going into all rows or all sides in the very same time. This is also another message, and it's now also normal to know that we do have factories which produce such things. How do you see this as another message, even to whether to the Egyptian citizen or to the investors who should be very much encouraged to invade these new markets?
Once I was operated by a very famous European surgeon, and he was famous by making successful surgeries. According to his book, he said a big surgery, a big operation is after all composed of many, many details. The details are very important because you may have a long line of production, many, many workers are doing the job, and one in the middle is slower than the others. Those details are very important. The famous writer, Frederick Teller, he was only going to factories, seeing how the production is going on, and he would give some small advices that bring the tools nearer here, that you need more workers in a certain process in order to make it faster, because one process in the whole production can stop or can delay the others.
Yes.
Many details like that are very important, and it is a sort of very important practice now. And there are books and series about it. And when we were discussing in Egypt the industrial modernization program, our foreign experts, Albertino Santana from Portugal, he's one very famous person in Europe and in Portugal. He said once he realized when they visited a sort of factory for television or household effects, that the process is going faster many times than in his own country. And he asked why. He said he got an answer, the wrong answer because they are using new machines. No, the process is detailed, not the machine. It is the person who is dealing with
the machine.
The machine,
Yeah.
and how fast he's doing it, whether the tools are near to him, whether the ingredients are enough, whether he has to go to the end of the hall to bring some tools, or it is very near to him. All these details
sir,
are very
what
important.
you're saying right now is reminding me of a piece of news I read yesterday about Spain. Spain announced that it's going to spend 1.3 billion euros on vocational training.
Absolutely, yes. Really, we were amazed because some people were talking against us that you want to modernize our industry. The first step is to bring new machines. No, at all. The machines are the last step. First, human resources must be up till the international level. The resources also, the small ingredients and how we get it. Also, something which we don't know, the government policy. Are we encouraging really the investor? Are we wasting his time to wait to draw a check in the bank? Are we making him wait for the license for 30 days? And I always say that the investor is measuring the time his money is waiting for until he starts his production process. He comes with $100 million. He's putting it in the bank, and he's calculating when he will get his first $1 million dollar as a profit.
Yes,
This is very
the money
important.
circuit, and I think what we are doing, or what the state is doing, is to exert the utmost efforts to eliminate all obstacles in front of the investors, whether Egyptians or foreigners, to start their own business, and all, of course, for the best interest of our economy. Returning back, sir, to the press conference and to the many messages which were sent by the Prime Minister. First, he said the Egyptian economy is doing well amid the global crises and is capable of fulfilling its financial obligations. Well, from time to time, whether the president or the prime minister is keen to send a messages to the citizens not to worry, or at least to know that we knew well the challenges we are facing and we knew how to deal with them. How do you see this, sir?
Yes, and many people are asking us in our private meetings where we are. We are not in the best condition because the whole world is not in the best situation. We met two problems in the whole world. First, it was the disease of the corona. Second, now we are still living with the repercussions of the war,
Russian-Ukrainian war,
Ukraine, which
yes,
is very complicated. In our region, we have problems around us in Sudan, in Libya, in Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, name it. And really, these, after all, are our normal and immediate markets. Certainly, this would affect us. And the whole world economy is diminishing. In the America, the discussion now is how to raise the ceiling of the debts in the United States, because it seems that the government borrowed much more than it's allowed according to the rules and the Constitution.
yeah,
In Europe, they are diminishing, in China, in Japan. But the experts are telling us that there are very few countries, almost 5 countries, are still growing positively. Egypt is among them, and it's number 3 or 4. Very good news, but
sure,
not enough. Not enough, because we are growing now by 4%. We need to grow by 7 or 8%. Why? Because, mashallah, we are growing in inhabitants. Since 2011, we gave birth to
yeah,
25 million children. This is as much as twice a developed country like Greece. This is too much.
and we went through a lot also,
this is
sir.
not too much. Let
Yeah.
us give birth as much as we want, but we have to make sure for every child we have a bed, we have a desk in the school, we have a place in the
All services.
hospital, and we have
Yeah.
a place in the bus, and so on. This is a big responsibility we have
Sure.
to face. We are facing it relatively good, but not good enough.
Sir, another important statement which was released yesterday by the Premier, that there is full coordination between the state, between the cabinet and the Central Bank of Egypt, meaning that this full coordination is working for the best interest of the new entrepreneurs, investors, direct or indirect investment, the attraction of both direct and indirect investment, and taking into consideration that we are living in this world. I mean, the whole negative repercussions which are taking place for years now, it's not only on developing countries, on developing and developed countries. So the rise of the interest rates, the inflation, you name it. So how do you see saying it that way and that clear? There is full coordination between the state and the Central Bank of Egypt.
This is the basics of the science of money and banking science. And it is, they said that the monetary policy and the financial policy they do not meet. I mean, the central bank is a very independent body. Nobody can impose his opinion on the central bank anywhere in the world. But the scissor, after all, the two sides of the scissor meet to cut the piece.
Yes.
All of them, they are using the same policy, and there shouldn't be any contradiction between their policies. Now we have a sort of inflation. What is inflation? It is too much money and too little merchandise. So both of them have to increase the production of merchandise and to make the money flow less and less. How to do that? The Minister of Finance is imposing a little bit more taxing system, a little bit less expenditure. On the other side, the central bank would raise the rate of interest, would make difficult to make people borrow, and to ask the whole banking system to make more percentage of their money as a reserve. And thank God we have a good reserve. A couple of days ago, we reached almost $35 billion as a reserve to cover our needs. The good news also that we never stop paying our debts. We never do that. Although some people are asking or complaining or questioning, but we are paying our debts regularly. Sometimes we have what we call money gap or financial gap, but we can fill it whether by our financial system or our monetary system. Both of them are totally independent, but each one of them is looking to the other, trying to see how he's doing. It is a football game. 11 people are playing, but they are not playing exactly the same way, but they coordinate among themselves until they reach the goal.
Yes, sir. Sir, also Prime Minister Dr. Madbouli spoke a lot about the importance of the private sector and how the private sector is encouraged to have maybe a lion's share in specific fields, but in the same time taking into consideration that one of the priorities of the state is localizing industry. And this word is now a key word, and it also it's also going to lead us to competitiveness and to sustainability. Would you please elaborate?
Yes, here is one subject we are not all agreed upon, and we have to agree upon. I mean, the majority of us, whether the authority and government or the private sector, must agree upon. Some people are fascinated with the old system where the government was producing the sandwiches of fool and ta'miyya and producing the iron and steel. This is not possible anymore. Government is not clever to produce fool and ta'miyya or ice cream. Governments are there to fill the gap. This is according to most of the most important theories of economy. The government is there to fill the gap. What we cannot make, the government is ready to do it. Like railways, like electricity, Aswan High Dam, the irrigation system, all these are the government task. But then the big projects, we ask big investors and big companies to do it because they are much more inexperienced to do this job. Also, I do not ignore at all the very small and tiny project, which is the one-man projects, the small carpenter shop, the small mechanic, electrician, name it. And always I give the example of our industrial cities like The 10th of Ramadan, and in my city, Damietta is the oldest industrial city in Egypt, where you have 60,000 small carpentry shops. And a sort of coordinating among themselves. One is producing the chair, one is producing the table, and then it comes to be a dining room. And it's going beautifully. We are proud of what is going on in this industry in Damietta.
I remember, sir, you have given us example with Germany many times. Of course, the automotive industry there, the heavy industry, but in the same time, the economy cannot go on or be on the right track without the SMEs or the micro and macro businesses. True?
Thank you. You remind me of a very important thing.
Yeah.
Few years ago, we met a German professor. He gave us a lecture here in Sinai University. And he was talking to us about his book. The book named Hidden Heroes. And it was translated in Arabic by Al-Ahram, Abtalun Mustatirun, Hidden Heroes. I am advising everybody to have a look at this book, because he showed us on the screen the names of 500 companies. We didn't know any of them. And he said those are the hidden heroes of the industry in Germany.
Yeah.
Most of them are producing very important things, but it is not quite clear to us. Small things in the car industry, like you said, small things in the textile or the garments industry, and they are the largest in the world, but nobody know about them. It's not Siemens or Mercedes or BMW. It is names hidden heroes.
Hidden heroes, because they are behind the fame and success of the German development. Well, as usual, I enjoyed my time, sir, and you're always an added value to our programs. I always learn a lot when we talk together. Thank you very much. We were very much delighted to have with us via phone His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister and our economic expert. Right after the short break, we are going to turn back with more, so stay tuned.